Just before we cross over, I couldn't stop you talking about some of the broader issues we should be looking for in the government budget that's coming up in February. But for the small caps sector, could there be anything in there for someone who's specifically looking to invest in that side of the market?
On a very selective basis there, Godfrey, you've got to do your homework. You've got to look at the sectors where you believe the spend is coming through. Some of the companies I'm going to be talking on today are things like Pioneer Foods, and Robex, two themes of which I think we're going to see increased spending. Pioneer Foods via staples and branded foods as we see the economy turning around. We've seen a forecast of growth for the current year of 3.5% GDP. Yeah. I think the worst is over. I think we're slowly going to turn the corner. Robex, the focus on roads. A lot of our roads are in a very, very bad condition. Provincial roads also need to be upgraded. Right. Eskom has a budget of, I think, about 10 billion rand for roads. Some of the provincial authorities do not have the skills or the wherewithal actually to build roads. We could well see a company like Robex being tasked by Eskom to upgrade the roads. Or if that doesn't happen, the provinces who do not have the skills, the money, or the wherewithal, giving that over to companies like Robex.
Yeah, so you could be putting your money into construction.
On a very, very specialized basis.
Yeah. The other interesting thing is one of your stock picks is Matrix. Mines out copper in the DRC, and there are a host of problems with that country. But you still think there is enough value there to be extracted?
I think so, Godfrey. The challenges are still there. The DRC, as we know, is not all that politically stable. Yeah. If you look at Meterex, it's a basic turnaround scenario. They're now focused on copper and cobalt. They've sold their non-core assets. We've seen a very, very clever deal being done of late. We've seen the hedge book being unwound, the previous hedge book where the banks were owed in excess of probably about R1 billion odd. That has been paid down. The previous hedge, which was done at a copper price of about $3,900 per ton, has now been rolled into a new hedge around about $6,000 per ton. This gives them massive scope to turn around. In addition, the initial cost of changing that hedge was believed to be about $65 million. That $65 million has been rolled into the new hedge of $6,000 per ton. They're sold out of non-core investments. We've just had the production increase for the quarter ended December. We saw the numbers up in copper 32% and cobalt 22%. It's a basic turnaround situation there, Godfrey.
So a bit of money into the DRC. What about the outlook for the small cap sector for the year? I mean, we know last year wasn't a good year. You didn't want to be caught out in there. You were telling me earlier you had to bail out. But for 2010, is the upswing beginning this year and perhaps the greater returns coming in 2011?
Well, Godfrey, I think we're over the worst in terms of the turnaround in the South African economy. Some of the challenges are the developed economies coming out of this recession. It's not going to be a one-way move. There are lots and lots of challenges out there. Emerging markets have done very, very well on their own, but we do need some upswing in terms of developed economies. Consumer spending is still very, very weak. Then those economies are totally dependent on government stimulus. Hopefully that stimulus is not going to be removed too early. Therein lies the danger.
So you wouldn't be putting any money into small caps now? You would be sitting
tight where you are? I would be waiting. Perhaps I would like to look at the message of the budget. I'd like to wait possibly to see what all the corporate results are in South Africa in the first quarter, US corporate results, and then I'd be slowly looking selectively maybe end of February or into the second quarter at small caps. But again, you've got to do your homework then. If you look at the background of small caps then, the banks are not lending, they're still risk adverse, their balance sheets are still stretched. You need to look at the strength of the cash flow and the balance sheets of the small caps, and more importantly of the management.
Absolutely. Caution is the word from Ron
Absolutely.
Klipin, fund manager, working under the umbrella of Stockbrokers SA. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. For the record, Ron manages about 120 million rand, and he, as I said, works under the umbrella of SA Stockbrokers.